the world, and we are his worship.
A comprehensive long-term deal with Iran that will prevent it from obtaining a nuclear weapon. This deal demonstrates that American diplomacy can bring about real and meaningful change. Change that makes our country and the world safer and more secure. This deal is also in line with a tradition of American leadership. It's now more than 50 years since President Kennedy stood before the American people and said, "Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate." He was speaking then about the need for discussions between the United States and the Soviet Union, which led to efforts to restrict the spread of nuclear weapons. In those days, the risk was a catastrophic nuclear war between two superpowers. In our time, the risk is that nuclear weapons will spread to more and more countries, particularly in the Middle East, the most volatile region in our world. Today, because America negotiated from a position of strength and principle, we have stopped the spread of nuclear weapons in this region. Because of this deal, the international community will be able to verify that the Islamic Republic of Iran will not develop a nuclear weapon. This deal meets every single one of the bottom lines that we established when we achieved a framework earlier this spring. Every pathway to a nuclear weapon is cut off, and the inspection and transparency regime necessary to verify that objective will be put in place. Because of this deal, Iran will not produce the highly enriched uranium and weapons-grade plutonium that form the raw materials necessary for a nuclear bomb. Because of this deal, Iran will remove 2/3 of its installed centrifuges, the machines necessary to produce highly enriched uranium for a bomb, and store them under constant international supervision. Iran will not use its advanced centrifuges to produce enriched uranium for the next decade. Iran will also get rid of 98% of its stockpile of enriched uranium. To put that in perspective, Iran currently has a stockpile that could produce up to 10 nuclear weapons. Because of this deal, that stockpile will be reduced to a fraction of what would be required for a single weapon. This stockpile limitation will last for 15 years. Because of this deal, Iran will modify the core of its reactor in Iraq so that it will not produce weapons-grade plutonium. And it has agreed to ship the spent fuel from the reactor out of the country for the lifetime of the reactor. For at least the next 15 years, Iran will not build any new heavy water reactors. Because of this deal, we will, for the first time, be in a position to verify all of these commitments. That means this deal is not built on trust. It is built on verification. Inspectors will have 24/7 access to Iran's key nuclear facilities. Iran will have access to Iran's entire nuclear supply chain, its uranium mines and mills, its conversion facility, and its centrifuge manufacturing and storage facilities. This ensures that Iran will not be able to divert materials from known facilities to covert ones. Some of these transparency measures will be in place for 25 years. Because of this deal, inspectors will also be able to access any suspicious location. Put simply, the organization responsible for the inspections, the IAEA, will have access where necessary, when necessary. That arrangement is permanent. And the IAEA has also reached an agreement with Iran to get access that it needs to complete its investigation into the possible military dimensions of Iran's past nuclear research. Finally, Iran is permanently prohibited from pursuing a nuclear weapon under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which provided the basis for the international community's efforts to apply pressure on Iran. As Iran takes steps to implement this deal, it will receive relief from the sanctions that we put in place because of Iran's nuclear program, both America's own sanctions and sanctions imposed by the United Nations Security Council. This relief will be phased in. Iran must complete key nuclear steps before it begins to receive new sanctions relief. And over the course of the next decade, Iran must abide by the deal before additional sanctions are lifted, including 5 years for restrictions related to arms and 8 years for restrictions related to ballistic missiles. All of this will be memorialized and endorsed in a new United Nations Security Council resolution. And if Iran violates the deal, all these sanctions will snap back into place. So there's a very clear incentive for Iran to follow through, and there are very real consequences for a violation. That's the deal. It has the full backing of the international community. Congress will now have an opportunity to review the details, and my administration stands ready to provide extensive briefings on how this will move forward. As the American people and Congress review the deal, it will be important to consider the alternative. Consider what happens in a world without this deal.
So that was the nuclear deal with Iran under Obama's administration. I didn't necessarily support his administration, but I am giving credit where it's due. And then I'm going to show you what Levitt said, according to that deal, which was not very, I would say, graceful and not intuitive. So I'm going to pull that up for you guys right now.
This threat. Some, like Barack Hussein Obama, even sent pallets of cash that ultimately financed this terrorist crusade against the United States and our people, while signing stupid and naive deals that put Iran on the path of developing nuclear bombs against the United States and our people, while signing stupid and naive deals that put Iran on the path of developing nuclear bombs.
Okay. After what we watched, and that we know that Iran was a part of the IAEA, right? She said that Obama made it possible for them to develop nuclear weapons. Well, the whole reason for that Iran deal is because they had nuclear weapons. This is why they are part of that's why they're part of the IAEA and part of the NPT system that has 24 surveillance of Iran's nuclear facility and all of their sites, and to ensure that they stay underneath 90% enrichment, so that they cannot develop a nuclear warhead. So there's a lie going around where they say that the little boy had 60% enrichment during Hiroshima. Well, that's completely false. The little boy bomb, or the little boy, I guess I'm not allowed to say it, that zoomed in, was only between 80 to 90% enrichment. So anyone telling you that it was 60%, they are straight up telling you a lie. Okay? And with that being said, let me go over to the next one. Next video. Just bear with me.
Their weapons program with an attack obliterated Iran's
So people were telling me that Trump had never said or indicated that Iran had a nuclear program, which they didn't, and that's confirmed with the IAEA chairman, and viewed at the NPT reports, that is 24/7 surveillance. So I'm going to show you right here exactly that he does say that. So I'm tired of all the lies.
their weapons program with an attack obliterated June. The United States military operation last June. The United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer.
So what is it? Do they have a nuclear weapons program, or do they not have a nuclear weapons program? Is anyone paying attention to the truth? I'm not taking sides. I'm taking the side of truth. I'm taking the side of Yeshua, not myth. Okay? Everyone's being too manipulated. They don't know what's going on. They're not doing diligent work, and you're just believing these freaking random videos that are completely lying to you so that they can get views and so that they can make money off of you not doing your own diligent work yourself. I'm not saying that everyone in this live, but I'm saying that that's how it works. And that's the kind of content that all these people push on their platforms, is lies, misconception, disinformation, and lies.
Good. For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members.
Yep, that's true too. So I want you guys to know about what the falsehoods are and what the truth is. It's important that we separate the two. So now I'm going to go over and move over to the school that was hit by a tomahawk, and I'm going to prove that it was the United States. Just bear with me.
The deaths are part of war, yeah.
It's part of war. It's a sad part of war. It's the bad part of war.
Mr. President, did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still
But
investigating?
the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
I just want you to look at his face right here. This is my opinion, but this is his. This is when he's being insincere. I don't think it's intentional. It's just kind of a giveaway. This face that he makes, and we
We think it was done by Iran.
So there's that, and let me show you another one where he says that he believes it was Iran, full well knowing who it was.
We think it's going to lead to just more. The same problem for the country. So I was disappointed to see their choice.
Trump did not say whether the new leader also had a target on his back. Meanwhile, the war continued to rage. Israel struck.
Sorry, that is the wrong one. Let me pull up the right one. That's my fault. Thank you for being patient and anyone who's viewing this. A lot of people jumping off because, clearly they do not like the truth. It's this one.
Footage that showed that an American
missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I
for that
haven't
strike?
seen it, and I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, you know that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more, but whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic, it's sold to other countries, but that's being investigated right now.
So on two occasions, Trump only said, not Hegseth, because he said he needs to verify that. I think that's how an intelligent person handles this. He said that Iran has tomahawks. Well, does Iran have tomahawks? Let's see for ourselves, guys. Alright, so does Iran have tomahawks? So these are the current operators. So United States is the primary developer and largest operator, currently using them in Operation Epic Fury in Iran. So we are using tomahawks in Operation Fury in Iran. Secondly, the United Kingdom, a long-standing operator that uses the missile strikes on its Astute class and Trafalgar, I don't know why they can't just make simpler words, man, class submarines. Australia recently integrated the missile into its arsenal with successful test launches from the destroyer HMAS Brisbane in late 2024. Okay, let's keep going. So new and future operators, several countries have recently moved from pending purchase to active or near active status. And these are the countries. Japan, alright? Japan accelerated its procurement of 400 Block IV and V missiles. The first shipment arrived in March 2026 for deployment on Aegis-equipped destroyers. Netherlands, the U.S. State Department approved 2.19 billion cell in 2025. The Dutch Navy conducted its first successful test firing in 2025 for integration into its frigates. I don't know, butchering words. And then, look at these are the non-operators and false claims. Despite recent public suggestion by President Trump, the following nations do not possess tomahawks. Iran. Experts and military analysts confirm Iran does not have tomahawks, which are strictly controlled U.S. exports. Israel. Although a close ally, Israel is known to operate this specific missile system. Ukraine. While the administration discussed sending tomahawks to Ukraine in 2025, shipments are currently considered unlikely due to U.S. inventory shortages caused by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. So, I just destroyed that narrative. Iran does not have tomahawks. So, I don't know how you get them to having tomahawks. It's so incredibly fascinating. And then, on top of that, let's go and watch more. So, was that all I wanted to explain? I think there might have, oh yeah, there is more. Hold on, there is more. 1 second. I am trying to find this right now. I just have way too much stuff. No. Where's my stuff at? I just downloaded it. Password. Where is it at? Maybe I should go to all files. Alright. I think it's in here. Huh. Let me check. Hold on, I don't know why this is not coming up. try to do this real quick so that I can't find it in my documents. I just literally saved it in there. So let's do this. Let's go to window capture. So let's do this. Alright guys. As you can see, so confirmed versus unconfirmed nuclear program. Topic: does Iran currently have a nuclear weapon? The IAEA has publicly said it cannot assure Iran's program is exclusively peaceful because of unresolved safeguards, issues, and reduced verification access, which is they're citing the NPT. When they had sanctions thrown on them, while they say that they were compliant, they limited that access in retaliation. Separately, and that's what I believe has happened, but I'll have to look into that thoroughly too. So separately, the U.S. intelligence community's 2025 assessment said continues to assess Iran is not building a nuclear weapon and that Kremlin had not reauthorized the weapons program suspended in 2003. What's not confirmed and is an overclaim. There is no public IAEA finding in these sources that says Iran currently has a nuclear weapon. Is Iran enriching uranium to unusually high levels? Yes, the IAEA reported Iran had accumulated 440.9 kilograms of uranium enriched up to 60%. The U-235 by the time of the mid-June 2025 attacks, and said Iran is the only NPT non-nuclear weapon state to have produced and accumulated uranium enriched to that level. It is false to say there is no issue at all with Iran's enrichment level. The IAEA explicitly treats this as a proliferation concern. Does 60% enrichment equal a bomb? No. The IAEA calls Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium a serious concern with potential proliferation implications. But this agency does not say that 60% enrichment by itself equals a finished nuclear weapon. Iran has a bomb because it has 60% enriched uranium. Goes beyond what these public sources findings saying. That's an extreme overstatement. Does the IAEA say Iran's program is fully peaceful? No. The IAEA says that unless and until Iran solves the outstanding safeguards issues, which is the NPT system, the agency will not be able in position to provide assurance that Iran's nuclear program is exclusively peaceful. The IAEA is not saying that it's peaceful, and they're not saying that it's not peaceful. What they're saying is that they cannot verify if it is or not because of the NPT system that they stopped sharing because of the sanctions that were put on them. It is inaccurate to claim that the IAEA has cleared Iran's program as fully peaceful. Let's go here. Did Iran, let me make sure this is showing up on here real quick. Okay, it is. I like this. This is working. Does Iran have undeclared nuclear related activity in the past? Yes, the IAEA said its assessment led it to conclude that 3 undeclared locations and possibly related locations were part of an undeclared structured nuclear program carried out by Iran until the early 2000s. Okay, you guys understand that? And that some activities use undeclared nuclear material. This is not the same thing as a public IAEA finding that Iran is currently assembling nuclear weapons right now. Has Iran reduced the IAEA's ability to verify program? Yes, the IAEA says Iran stopped to modified code 3.1 implementation and other access programs significantly reduced the agency ability to verify whether the program is entirely peaceful. And in 2026, the agency also warned of an 8-month loss of continuity of knowledge over previously declared material at affected facilities. It is inaccurate to say inspectors have full visibility and that nothing is unresolved. What does Iran say itself about for its program? Iran publicly says the nuclear program is peaceful, grounded in article of the NPT, and that it rejects nuclear weapons. Iran officials have framed enrichment as a legal right and a domestic need program. I believe that's Article 5 of the NPT does not recognize an inalienable right to peaceful nuclear energy. That's Vienna UN mission. Iran public claims do not themselves prove that the program is exclusively peaceful. That is exactly what the IAEA says it still cannot assure. Why is Iran doing this? Confirmed motive stated publicly, Iran says it is defending its NPT rights, pursuing peaceful nuclear energy, and responding to outside pressure after the June 2025 board resolution. Iran publicly announced a new enrichment facility and upgrades at Fordow in response. Unconfirmed private motive, that Iran's true goal is definitely to build a nuclear weapon, or definitely only to bargain, or to definitely only create threshold deterrence, remains an inference, not a publicly proven fact in these sources. So let's base things off of what we can prove and what we cannot prove, not what we feel is happening, guys. It's important. Feelings are up and down, and they're not consistent, and they're not always reliable. Okay? So, and now I want to show you guys that Iran is not the only country that has been non-compliant with the IAEA and NPT systems. And I'll show you what countries are a part of the IAEA and are not a part of the NPT system, which is a 24/7 surveillance of their nuclear missions, programs, etc., etc. Okay, so, oh man, why is this? Every time I'm doing something good, man. So, no, it's not that one. Where did I put this? Is it this one? Okay, right here. So these are safeguards. Non-compliance is not unique to Iran. I'm not supporting Iran or the regime. I'm just putting out the facts. IAEA safeguards disputes have occurred in multiple countries since early 1990s. Examples include Iraq, North Korea, Libya, Syria, South Korea, Romania, and Egypt. Each case was handled differently depending on the severity of violations and the level of cooperation and international inspectors. This shows the safeguards disputes are not unique to Iran, although geopolitical consequences of Iran's case are far greater. Nuclear states outside of the NPT framework. Again, the NPT framework is a 24/7 surveillance of their nuclear reactors, nuclear programs, so on and so forth, and it just ensures by being able to visibility check to see if they are working towards something like that. Another key piece of context involves countries that possess nuclear weapons but operate outside the Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT, and that's what I was showing you earlier about what Obama was talking about back when he was in administration. The NPT is the primary global treaty governing nuclear weapons and inspections. Most countries in the world have not joined it, but several nuclear-armed states have not. Countries widely recognized as possessing nuclear weapons outside the NPT include Israel, India, and Pakistan. North Korea joined the treaty but later withdrew. These states are sometimes referred to as nuclear outliers because they developed nuclear weapons outside the NPT system. IAEA membership versus NPT inspection obligations. A common misconception is that these countries are not part of the IAEA. In reality, Israel, India, and Pakistan are all members of the IAEA. The difference lies in the inspection obligations they have accepted. The IAEA uses two main types of safeguards: comprehensive safeguards. These apply to non-nuclear weapon states that are parties to the NPT. Countries under this framework must allow inspectors covering their entire nuclear program. That's what Iran was under. Facility safeguards. Countries outside the NPT can place individual civilian facilities under inspection rather than the entire nuclear program. Israel, India, and Pakistan use this type of arrangement. As a result, the IAEA may inspect certain declared civilian facilities in those countries, but their entire nuclear programs are not subject to the same comprehensive verification framework. Okay? So that just lays it out for you guys. I'm going to be ending this live. I really wanted to share this stuff with you guys because I think it's so incredibly important, guys. Okay, it's so important that we're not basing our beliefs off of what we feel, and that we're not basing our beliefs off of what people just tell us. It's very important for you to take the time and look at through all international news outlets, looking at all government websites and putting this stuff together systematically. All right. So with that being said, I hope this really clarifies truth from falsehoods. I hope this verifies verification versus unverification. I hope this really helps from for things being transparent and non-biased, so that we can all have a greater understanding and a better systematical view of what is really going on here. I love you guys, and like I said, I love Yeshua, and I know Yeshua loves you. So regardless of everything that's going on in the world today, just make sure that your faith in him is number one priority. All right? I love you guys. Yeshua loves you, and Yeshua is king. I'll see you later.